Good afternoon and welcome back. Today I'm working on a couple of actually last minute, well not quite last minute, but Christmas gifts that I'm kind of hand making, I guess I'll call it. So I have, I think, 2 gifts this year that I'm not purchasing, and this is one of the 2 that I'm getting started on today. So as you can see, we're out in the shack. If you're a regular viewer, you've seen this before. If not, welcome into the ham shack. You can see some of the stuff behind me. Pan over. Anyway, what we're doing is I have a stack of old phonograph records that were actually my grandma's and her family's, even as far back as her grandma's. So some very old, and you'll see those in a minute, but some very old 78s, in other words. And so what we're doing today is I'm actually going to record a few of her favorite songs onto Audacity, and I'll show you what that looks like. And we're going to maybe put a little bit of some talking on there and just introducing the songs or things like that. And so I wanted to show you my setup. This is similar to my ham casting setup in a previous video from the shack, but it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to show you the setup first off, and then some kind of special things we're going to do to make it work properly. Got the dog hanging out right there by the heater. That's a good spot. Alright, so this is actually the first time I've had some modern technology in with the old, so that's kind of fun. This is Audacity I've got pulled up here. I just downloaded it. It's a free download, and I actually don't know much about the program other than this will allow me to record in MP3 format from really any audio source. So the trick is getting your audio source to your computer somehow. So in other words, I'm going to take my 78s from the record player up there, and I need to get those through the preamp right there. I'll show you that in a minute. The preamp goes into my audio mixer, and this just kind of balances everything out to the appropriate level, and then that goes into the computer there. So it's going to be quite a setup, but I'll show you what I've got so far. So I've just pulled this up. This is actually about the first time I've seen this program, so don't know much about it. But I just recorded a little test on my microphone, and what I want to do is, you've seen this cable before if you've watched the channel. This is essentially my input, but then this is my output. So it's got a combination, they call it a headset jack, or similar to your cell phone, where if you plug in a headset, you can talk and hear back at the same time. So I need to plug in my splitter cable. Let's see, where did I put that? In order to hear back what we've already recorded. It's around here somewhere. Here it is. So we'll just take this cable, and this is going to go into the input on our mixer. I'll try and get back in there. So you can see at the bottom here is in. We've got our red and white. Above that would be out. It's a little bit of a stretch to reach this. And then this other end is just a standard headphone plug. And that's going to go into our output coming from the computer. So we have our input where we'll record into the computer, but then we want to hear back what we just recorded through that cable. So we'll just do a little test and play our clip here. Check, check. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's working. So now I'm going to go grab our stack of records and show you what we're going to have to do there. Is kind of interesting. So unfortunately, my turntable here only has 33 and 45. So I'm afraid what we're going to have to do is record as close as we can, or as fast as we can, which would be the 45 setting, and then we'll come back over to Audacity and speed it up to where it sounds correct. So I wish I had a 78 turntable that I could use with the computer. Unfortunately, I don't. So I will get a record on and show you that setup, and then we'll do our first test recording. Alright, we're all hooked up, and so I'm just going to give you a little example, and I don't know how copyright's going to work. We'll find out when I upload this, but since we're recording it at 45 RPM, and it was originally 78 RPM, it's going to be pretty funny sounding. It's going to be very low and slow, because we're almost half the speed of what it was recorded at. So we're going to do a test here on White Christmas, and I'll clean this if we get a lot of static. I have my vinyl cleaning kit right here. And we'll record that into Audacity here on the computer. And then we'll come back and play it from Audacity and speed it up and see at what point we get it figured out. Then we'll be able to use that amount of tempo change for every record from this point forward. So here we go. Okay, that's enough of that. And again, this is just going to be a rough test, so I bet you've never heard anything quite like that. Two things that I noticed, I don't know if you can see the computer screen, and I'll show you various stations here throughout the process, but our input level was way too high. It was often peaking over into the red, if you saw a lot of yellow and red. So I can adjust that to the perfect level. And another thing is I forgot to mute my room microphone down here, and we don't want that on, obviously, while we're not using it. So that's going to create some background noise. And I think I will clean each record just because I've got them out anyway, and so I might as well. And we're getting just a touch of static. It's kind of cool sometimes, but not at an extreme amount. So let's go ahead and stop this. And then we'll come over here to the computer and take a listen. I'll just switch out my input source, and I do have these splitter cables that we can try. I just wasn't sure if they would work. But we'll move our input now, instead of the record player, to be the computer. And let's listen back to our track. Should sound about like it did a second ago when we recorded it. Yes, I plugged in a headset. Yep, that's about right. Sounds underwater and terrible, but we can perfect that. So now I want to go into Effect and change, I guess changing speed or pitch would do what we wanted, but we'll find out. So I want to select all. And if we want to almost double the speed, oh, here we go. It gives us a vinyl calculator right there. That's perfect. So we want to go from vinyl RPM 45 to 78. And you can see there the speed multiplier is almost double. Obviously 45 times 2 is 90. Let's try that and see how that sounds. Excellent. That's what we're looking for exactly. So I'm going to keep working on this and get it a little bit more perfected, and I'll show you a little bit more of a final result here in a second. So hope to see you back shortly. Alright, it's been a little bit of time here, but not bad. I did some searching online, and you've probably done the same, but hopefully this tip helps. If you are trying to record, I think regardless of the source, to Audacity and it's sounding warbled and underwater and not good, what you want to do is go into Control Panel on your computer, and I can try and show you that. The steps that they tell you online did not work for me. This is Windows 10, and I'm going to tell you the steps that worked for me. Search for Control Panel, then select Hardware and Sound, Sound, and find both your speakers and your input device, so your speakers and your microphone. You'll right-click on either one, go to Properties, up at the top, Advanced, and disable audio enhancements. So this was checked, and I disabled it, and you'll click Apply or OK or whatever the option is. Then go back and you'll want to do the same for your microphone. So that's under Recording, Microphone, right-click, Properties, Advanced, and then Disable Audio Enhancements and Apply. Then we'll go back to Audacity, and I've already recorded it after these changes, and I'll let you guys hear the difference. It's amazing. I was adjusting the level here, so you'll hear it get gradually quieter.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Isn't that amazing? So that's it. I'm going to clean this record, and we'll have our third example of how it sounds after cleaning. I'll try and edit this so you can hear all three in a row as well.